I feel nothing. I have no feelings of joy, excitement or euphoria. The only thing I'm feeling is this sense of whiplash. Really? That's all it takes? After 5 fucking years, that's what it took? I've been manifesting a super specific job. Like, I wanted this job and only this job. I got into manifestation in 2020, the usual pipeline of dumb scripting videos on TikTok, the law of attraction, assumption, shifting realities, which eventually led me to Neville. I can't count how many times I did SOTs and nothing happened. Even when I was sure it was going to work, it never fucking happened. There was always doubt, no matter how minuscule. At the end of 2024, I had a really bad breakdown, and something snapped inside me. I remember thinking, fuck the law, fuck Neville, and fuck all this mumbo jumbo bullshit. I really just gave up. I let go of all attachment, good or bad, to my specific desire, and I stopped manifesting altogether. Fast forward to January 2nd. I remember feeling, I guess you could say, at peace with myself. I wasn't happy or sad, or really feeling anything at all. I was just me. Then I got an alert from Gmail. My specific job was just posted on LinkedIn, so I applied. Was it inspired action? The natural flow of the universe? Nope. The only thing going on in my head was, sure, that was it. Every step of the way during my application, it was just sure. I went to sleep that night without any thoughts, without any excitement, or any feelings at all. Whether it was my ego protecting me or the fact that I had zero attachment left, I don't know. I woke up the next morning, went about my day, until my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I thought it was a scam at first, but it was actually an HR person from that same company I had applied to. We set up an interview for the following day. The call ended, and I was just about fucking floored. I couldn't believe how fast this was happening. You mean to tell me that after 5 fucking years, I have an interview this quickly for something I would have sold my soul for in a heartbeat? Long story short, I got the job. I don't know if my story will help anyone, but I'm sharing it in the hopes that some poor soul like me might benefit from it in some way. For me, detaching completely was the missing piece of the puzzle, and I mean completely. I didn't entertain any ideas, visions, or feelings. Not a single fiber of my being had any attachment to the outcome, good or bad. I'm grateful, I really am. I feel like I've had this job for so long that a very small part of me now doesn't want it anymore and wants something better. Life sure is fucking funny sometimes. My dad was in a foreign country to visit some family. While he was there, he suddenly got this intense pain in the lower right side of his abdomen. It was so bad that he couldn't stand up. His friends came to where he was and took him to the hospital, where they did a few scans but couldn't find anything, so they just gave him some painkillers and stuff. When he came back from visiting family, he suddenly got this pain again, and it was very intense. He had collapsed to the floor and couldn't get himself up because of how bad the pain was. It was late at night and it was December 23rd, the emergency rooms near us were very busy, so he just took a pain med and went to sleep. The next day the pain came back. So I drove him to the emergency room, and after a few scans they told me they found a huge kidney stone. Either the exact size, but I think it was somewhere around 6 millimeters to 8 millimeters. This was on Christmas Eve and he had to stay at the hospital overnight. While I was there waiting for him at the hospital, I started affirming to myself that he is completely healthy, and I also was affirming that everyone in the hospital is completely healthy. After the doctor told me about the kidney stone, I affirmed even more, and I also remembered a story in one of Neville's lectures where this woman talks about healing her husband's kidney stone. So on the drive back I continued affirming, and throughout the next couple days I imagined my dad sitting on his bed and I just felt he was completely healed. The doctors had given him some pain medication and some other medications that might break the stone into smaller pieces. They said it likely won't do much, and unless he can pass it out, they would have to do surgery to remove the stone. I just ignored what I heard and affirmed my dad was healthy. Yesterday he went to the doctor for a follow-up scan to discuss the next steps, and when he came back he told me they did a few scans and they couldn't find the stone at all. They had sent the scans to a doctor to get her thoughts and she couldn't find the stone either. So she said it must have passed somehow. My dad didn't pee it out, he definitely would have felt that, and even if the medications broke it into smaller pieces, he'd still have to pee those out. So yeah, the power of persistent imagining. I have been practicing these teachings since 2020. I think most anyone who is really trying to do their best to grasp these concepts knows that it doesn't happen overnight, and that sometimes it can feel like 2 steps forward, a step back, obstacles in the way of believing in it such as the 3D world or realizing how much discipline it takes for an adult human to change their paradigms and worldviews and own inner beliefs that were instilled in them at a young age. That being said, wherever you are at in your own journey of learning these laws of the universe and unlearning and learning new beliefs, remember to be patient and show yourself grace, because even though a lot of people say you can shift realities overnight, I believe for the majority, it takes a lot of time, dedication, and effort. The main reason for this post is because I was journaling this morning and was reflecting on my latest major obstacle in my own life that I've wanted to change, my boyfriend. He is not a very emotional human being, and I am a deeply emotional person, so a lot of arguments stem from feeling misunderstood, usually on my end. Long story short, the other night I was emotional and he could tell and was pleading for me to tell him. So I did, and he grabbed me and hugged me and told me a few sweet things. In the moment, I was trying my best to be fully present and I realized, wow, this is it. This is my manifestation and my new assumption coming to fruition. Even that small act of him doing that and being emotionally attentive to me, is far beyond the norm for him and how he is able to handle his own emotional depth. Now, it wasn't the most grand gesture like what I might dream of him being, but in my journaling this morning I realizing this, another huge component of manifesting and getting our desires, is allowing them. I don't think that someone would change their entire personality or characteristics overnight. We plant the seed of our desire through our imagination and thoughts and affirmations. Then what? We expect it to just be full-blown, bam, just like that? I don't think so. We must be in the present moment. We are told to ignore the 3D, but what if the 3D is actually trying to show us that the seed of our desire has been planted and is starting to grow roots? And it needs our attention and focus of those tiny roots coming out for it to then grow the stem. If all we are doing is constantly imagining and focusing on the future, how will the desire ever be here in the present? We must feel gratitude and excitement over even the smallest of movements. In that present moment of realizing this was it, this was the universe showing me it's working, I felt my belief in my boyfriend's emotional capacity grow. If I had turned an eye to it and said, but this isn't how I want it, it should be better and more, what energy would that have given to my manifestation? I think it would have killed it a bit, because everything has to start somewhere, even if it's very very small, it's a start. Ask yourself if you are too focused on the future and your desires, to notice that the things you're asking for are trying to be let in, you just won't allow yourself to notice them out of fear of looking at the present reality. Just started doing SOTs for about 3 to 4 weeks. I have also been an on and off, again insomnia sufferer for about 15 years. My initial purpose of manifestation was for wealth and abundance, and have already noticed some things slowly happen for me there. I won't get into it too much, but this is something I will continue to visualize on. But the biggest thing I have noticed is my improved sleep quality. I haven't slept like this in ages. Just zonked out 8+ hours. Which at 44 with 2 kids and life stress is kinda crazy. There are 2 things I think that this is attributed to. First, I believe for me to achieve my ultimate goal of wealth and abundance, I need to put myself in the position to have it bestowed upon me. This means I can't be an anxious, stressed out zombie, grinding through the workday. I need to feel wealthy and great, which starts with good sleep and a mind at ease. So I actually started manifesting sleep. It sounds weird, but I kept replaying the feeling of when you wake up from a great night of rest. Completely melted into my pillow, a bit of drool, hair a mess, and just the feeling of whoa, I was out. And lo and behold, that is what has happened. Secondly, when I do my other visualizations, my family is with me. I visualize their love and our togetherness and how content we are in seeing I replay. Doing this has changed my mindset pre-sleep completely. I used to be thinking about almost the crap I need to do in my life and trying to shut that down. Now it's a feeling of bliss and relaxation. I've actually cried a few times because I realize how fortunate I am. I've always felt fortunate overall, but I've never willfully expressed my gratitude in this sense. This feeling is warm and comforting. And perfect to drift into sleep. Will continue to manifest things about myself that I want to work on, as I intertwine this with the ultimate goal of wealth. I'd like to be a more confident leader, less anxious, less people-pleasing, steadfast in my goals, comfortably take on conflict when required. And from this, I think everything else will fall into place. Just my thoughts and wanted to share with others that might be in a similar situation.